Happy Halloween, my little wordsmiths! Yes, today is Halloween. I am recording this video on 31st October 2020, which is celebrated as Halloween all around the world. Do you know what is Halloween? It is a nice, cute little festival where children they dress up in fancy dresses, in make-believe characters like superheroes, ghosts, witches, and they go from door to door visiting their neighbors and they ask them, trick or treat. And the neighbors they give them, or the people living in their houses, they give them candies and chocolates, and everybody has fun basically with this make believe festival. Now I thought that as it is Halloween, let me tell you guys a spooky story, a ghost story. So the name of the story is called Sir Lawley's Ghost. Before I begin the story, I want to ask you guys a question. Do you believe in ghosts? Do you think ghosts are real? Now, I know that all my wordsmiths are very intelligent, very smart little young boys and girls. And you all know there are no such thing as ghosts, witches, werewolves, or any kind of supernatural creatures. These are all make-believe stories and superstitious things which help us to be entertained, and we should not be really scared of them. But it is nice to listen to a ghost story because it excites us, it fascinates us, and it feels a sort of magical. So come on, let's read about Sir Lawley's ghost. Now, this story is about two friends who are trying to prank each other by ghosts. So let's see what happens. Lawley's boarding school had two types of residents, boys and ghosts. The 200-year-old school had all the features that made it an absolute paradise for ghosts. The huge sunlight blotting trees, the lengths of gloomy corridors lit only by the cobweb filters light that struggle in through the high ventilators, offered endless opportunities for the favorite pastime of ghouls scaring humans. And what made this even more fun for the ghosts was that the 750 boys in the boarding school were available and willing to be frightened at any time of the day or night. So the story begins in a school which is called Lawley's boarding school. Here, people used to say that there lived ghosts, and this school is 200-year old, and it had huge sun blotting trees. Blotting means the trees they used to hide the sun, and there were gloomy corridors, dark corridors which had cobweb filtered light. So cobweb is spider webs, and there were like dark corridors, and people used to think that ghosts live here. And what is ghouls? Ghouls are again another name of ghosts, and they used to scare humans. Newcomer Arjun scornfully declared that he did not believe in ghosts. So one day, a little boy called Arjun, he came to this school, and he did not believe in ghosts like my little wordsmiths. He was smart, he knew that ghosts are fake, they are all make-believe. This shocked the boys. And what was worse was Arjun mocked the idea of ghost of Sir Lawley. He used to tease other boys that they are foolish if they believe in the concept of ghosts. And he used to make fun of Sir Lawley's ghost. It was the oldest legend in the school that Sir Lawley roamed carrying a blood-stained pillow. When Arjun called the legend the funniest story he had ever heard, the boys planned to teach the newcomer a lesson. How could anyone dare laugh at a chief ghost? What is a chief ghost? But the boys, they got angry. They said, how can he make fun of Sir Lawley's ghost? So they thought, we will teach him a lesson, and they decided to play a prank on him. The plan, when it was worked out in detail, was something anyone could be proud about. There was a boy called Rohan, and Rohan had decided to use his own pillow and managed to get hold of a long handled broom, the kind used to clean cobwebs. See, this kind of broom. It had a long broomstick, and there was broom at the end of the stick. So normally these days we do not find this kind of broom in our houses because we use the other sweeping brooms. But the school had been built in the late 19th century. So 19th century means it was built in somewhere in 1880s or 1890s, 1880s and 1890s. And the extra high ceilings required brooms with impossibly long handles to clean them. So in older times, the houses, they used to have high ceilings. And to clean those high ceilings, you needed brooms which had sticks attached to them so that you can reach the high ceiling and clean the cobwebs and other dust from the ceiling. In order to make the broom invisible in the dark, he smeared the bamboo handle with damp mud. Now he wanted to make this broom invisible, he wanted to camouflage it. So Rohan, he put mud on this handle to make it brown so that nobody can see it in the dark. Now, when no one was around, he practiced how the pillow supposed to belong to the ghost would appear to float into the dormitory by being attached to the broomstick. What is a dormitory? In a hostel, in a boys' hostel or a girls' hostel, there are the rooms where children sleep, where the children live. So those living quarters or those living rooms are called dormitory. Usually what happens in a dormitory, that many children, many kids, many boys or many girls, they live together. Like normally in your room, you must have your own room, or you must be sharing your room with your parents or your siblings. But in a hostel dormitory, 10, 20, 50, even 100 boys, they sleep in the same room. It's a big hall, big room where so many beds are there, and they all live and sleep together there. So this is called a dormitory. So he wanted to make it as an illusion, as if the ghost is floating inside the dormitory. Rowan was delighted when he saw how terrifying the effect was. The final touch was to instruct the other boys in the dorm. Dormitory is also called dorm for short. The final touch was to instruct the other boys in the dorm how to behave on the night when the ghostly pillow made its dramatic entry into the dormitory. So Rohan was very smart. He took the other boys in the confidence and he told them to pretend to act when he brings out this fake ghost. He told them that you guys should also act so that Arjun will believe it for real and he'll get scared. On the night of the ghostly visit, it took the excited boys a long time to fall asleep. They were very excited. They couldn't sleep. But Rohan himself was so tired by that morning's grueling practice session for the school's annual cross country marathon that he slept right through the faint digital beeping of his alarm clock. When he finally woke with a start, he realized that he had overslept. He shone the torch at his alarm clock. It was already 3 in the morning. Oh my god. But it was still dark, and daybreak in the Nilgiris was several hours away. It was still so much time remaining in the night. So he thought, let me execute my plan. He felt under his bed. Yes, the pillow he had prepared was right there. Not too late for the ghost to make its appearance. He decided and was about to tiptoe out of the bed when a familiar grating sound warned him that the dormitory door was being opened. Like this, a grating sound came. Normally, the old doors, they've got squeaky hinges, so they make this kind of sound they make. So when he was sitting in the dark, he heard this sound as if a door is open. It was unlike their housemaster to pay such a late visit to the dorm. He thought that it can't be the housemaster because it is too late. Who did the soft footsteps belong to? Tuck, 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 tuck. Footsteps were coming. And Rohan thought, oh my god, whose sounds are this? Whose footsteps are this? When he discovered the reason for the footsteps, icy prickles of fear crept down his spine. For advancing slowly into the dormitory was a blood-stained pillow. My God. Holding it was a hideous pair of ghostly white hands, made more terrifying by the fact that they weren't attached to any figure. So the pillow and the hands, they were floating in the air. Rowan's blood turned cold. He fumbled under his bed again, wondering whether any of the boys had decided to start the trick without him. He thought that somebody might have taken his pillow and playing the prank on him. But no! The pillow he had prepared was still there, which meant that he was. Was he? No, no, it wasn't possible. But there it was. A pillow actually floating forward into the room, held by a bloodless pair of severed hands. Oh my god! Was it actually a ghost, he wondered, his heart thudding wildly and blood pounding in his ears. Tuk tuk, tuk tuk, tuk tuk, tuk tuk. Ghost! Ghost! His throat was so dry with fear that his voice emerged only as a feeble whisper. There's a ghost! He tried again, and this time a few sleepy heads stirred awake. Seeing the bloody pillows, the boys simply assumed that the Rowan's plan was working. Some of them even giggled. They thought, oh my god, yes, Rowan's plan is working. But they started giggling. They thought, oh, this is all make believe. They didn't think that it was a real ghost. But Rowan was scared. Some of them even giggled before following the instructions that they had been given earlier. So they remembered that Rowan asked them to pretend. So they began screaming and shrieking, pretending to be afraid. Ah! Ah! There is a ghost! There is a ghost! There was so much confusion that no one noticed that Rowan himself was sitting stiffly in the bed. He was so scared that he was sitting stiff in the bed instead of being outside the dormitory steering the pillow with the long broomstick. Nobody realized that if Rowan was playing the prank, he should be outside. He cannot be seen in the dormitory. But the screams continued for a long time, even after the pillow had retreated from the dormitory. The boys were having such fun that it was some time before they remembered the target of the trick and turned their attention to Arjun. To their satisfaction, they saw that his eyes had turned saucer shaped with horror. So Arjun was also he was also sitting in horror. So what was that? Was that a real ghost, children? A real ghost had come about because even Arjun was scared, Rohan was scared, and Rohan had not done it. So who had done it? Oh my god. Do you think that was a real ghost? Come on, let's read. So, as for Rohan, the boys were filled with admiration at what they assumed was his superb acting. For even the hair in his eyebrows was standing on the end in terror, making his bushy brows look like two hairy caterpillars on his forehead. And though he kept rubbing his arms, the goosebumps on them didn't subside till the next day. He was so scared. While the metal braces on his teeth had actually come loose because his teeth had been chattering all night. He was so petrified, so scared, so terrified. Now, how were they to know that the prefect wasn't acting and that his fright was totally genuine? Poor Rowan. He was haunted by the memory of the dreadful vision he had seen. How ghastly the blood stains had been, and that spooky pair of hands. He shivered at the thought, enough to have turned his hair white. He checked the mirror hastily, recalling the story he had made up for Arjun's benefit. His hair was still black, he noted with relief, though the fingers that knotted the special tie prefects wore trembled noticeably. So he had told Arjun that whenever Sir Lawley's ghost used to come, everybody's hair would turn white. But he checked that, oh no, his hair was black, but his fingers, they were still shaking. The next few days were among the worst in Rowan's life. He was easily startled. He used to get scared very easily. And even the familiar sound of the junior boys stampeding down the wooden corridors or the breakfast gong ringing made him jump in terror. His heart wasn't in anything. He looked tired and forlorn. Forlorn means he was looked extremely sad as he went to fetch a fresh sports t-shirt from the kit room where all the wash uniforms were stored in rows of neatly numbered cubbyholes. So cubbyholes are small compartments where they keep the clothes. So this was the matron's domain and she was busy scolding the school dhobi, dhobi means washerman, for not washing the clothes properly. This white shirt looks bluish grey. There are muddy streaks on these sheets. And this pillowcase has huge red stains on it, the matron was complaining. What can I do, madam? The dhobi defending his washing. That pillowcase had huge patches of red ink on it. You know how difficult it is to wash off red ink? I managed to get most of the ink off. Wait a minute. Red ink on the pillowcase? Rowan froze. Was this the pillowcase that had been bloodied with red ink to become the ghostly pillow? Every student at Lawley's was expected to mark his name on all items of clothing, so it wouldn't be difficult to trace the pillowcase owner. Matron seemed to have the same idea, for she snatched the pillowcase from Dhobi and exclaimed it. Arjun Krishna Swami! She exclaimed angrily, seeing the new boy's name marked on the pillowcase. This boy is getting worse and worse. Just the other day, there was a complaint that he had taken a pair of white gloves from the band room, the kind that the drummers used, and stuffed it with clay from sculpture room. The clay had dried into the gloves to make them look like a pair of white hands. So oh, this is the surprise. This is the mystery. It was all Arjun's prank. What he had done, he had taken his pillowcase and he had put red ink on it. And how did he make those ghost hands? He took gloves from the band room and he had put clay in it and tried to make them look like a pair of white hands. But the matron didn't know this. So matron looked at Rowan. What's the matter, Rowan? She asked suddenly, noticing the prefect standing there, absolutely still and pale face. You look like you have seen a ghost. The matron and the dhobi crossed themselves at the very mention of the word. Even they were elders, and they were so superstitious. The moment they said the word ghost, they crossed themselves. Usually, people, whenever they think about ghosts or demons or spirits, they make the cross sign to protect themselves from it. Seen a ghost? Rowan repeated numbly, while all sorts of angry thoughts went through his mind about what he'd like to do to that brat. He figured it out, So Rohan figured it out that Arjun had played the prank on him. So he thought, hmm, I, you're asking me, have I seen a ghost? He was thinking, okay, this is how I will take revenge. This is what I will do. About what he'd like to do to that brat, that cheeky rascal, that pest, that pesky newcomer. Then he shook his head and grinned ruefully. Seen a ghost? Oh, no, ma'am. Now I'm quite certain that I have not seen a ghost. I mean, now that is. And he burst out laughing. He realized that there are no ghosts and Arjun has tricked him. So he started laughing. His laughter was such a loud mixture of relief and hysteria that the matron and Dobby looked at one another puzzled and then crossed themselves again. So Rohan was relieved. He was relieved that, oh my god, okay, there is no such thing as a real ghost and it was all a prank. So his laughter, it was not only relief, but he was just laughing hysterically. So hysteria is basically an extreme emotional reaction. And the matron and Dobby thought, they got worried, like, what happened to this boy? Why is he laughing all of a sudden? So they crossed they made the cross sign again, and they just kept on looking at him. So, how was the story, guys? Did you like it? And what do we learn from these stories? We learn exactly the same thing that we started from, that there are no real ghosts. Usually, what we think are ghosts and spirits and witches, these are basically pranks or mischiefs that other people play on us. So, instead of getting scared and instead of getting worried, you should try to look beyond the reason. You should try to find out the who has done this prank or what is the logic behind this prank, and that is how you will never be scared, because I'm 100% confident that there are no ghosts in this world and it is all make believe. So I hope you enjoyed listening to this spooky story this Halloween, and do let me know that how do you celebrate Halloween? Did you dress up? Did you dress up as a character? If yes, then which character? Also, I will keep bringing more stories to you. I'll keep teaching you. So keep learning with Araadhi, guys. Subscribe to our um, channel. Hit the like button and please drop in a comment. We love listening from you. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.